Welcome. I'm here today to talk about the power of protest songs, protest music's critical role in the American Civil Rights Movement, which is a research-based argumentative essay that I completed last year as an assignment for my AP seminar class. So this project looks at the intersection of music and social change. And in doing this project, what I really wanted to know was when Peter, Paul, and Mary, the famous trio, sang Blowin' in the Wind at the March on Washington, or when Martin Luther King led his supporters in a chorus of We Shall Overcome at one of his marches. Every time people gathered together to sing Lift Every Voice and Sing, or A Change is Gonna Come, did that play some role in the civil rights movement? Was that uplifting people? Was it building stamina? Was that moving the movement forward? And what is this power that music has to catalyze social change? First, does it have that power? And if so, what role does it play? What effect does it have on us in a sense, or what spell does it cast on us? And what I also wanted to know was, today, if I sing along to Tupac's song Thug Life, which is about the Black Lives Matter movement, or if I listen to Macklemore's White Privilege, am I also being involved in catalyzing social change? Is the way that I'm thinking changing? Am I somehow part of a movement? So that's what I wanted to examine with this project. I've always struggled a little bit with being a student in the sense that I see so many issues around me in the world. There's issues of climate justice, issues of immigrant justice, issues of racial justice, women's rights, and I feel that I want to do my part to promote justice in regards to these issues and make the world a better place. But at the same time, I'm a student, so I only have so much time to be an activist when I also find my studies important and I want to focus on those as well. And I've always wondered that by getting an education, am I being passive by not immediately going out and protesting climate change or making my way to the border and volunteering with asylum seekers? Could I be spending my time differently? So I had been thinking about that in my AP seminar class, and I had actually just returned from a trip to the Mexican-American border where I had been speaking with asylum seekers who had recently crossed through the Sonoran Desert and had risked everything for a better life. And I was wondering, what am I doing here sitting in this classroom when I could be back at the border advocating for immigrant rights? Or what am I doing here sitting in this classroom when I could be out on the streets advocating for the Black Lives Matter movement? I'd almost felt like my role as a student was insignificant and unimportant in a way. And then the College Board and our teachers introduced this project in which we could research any topic of our choice, and we just had to pick 2 of the 6 sources that the College Board sent us and use those as inspiration for the project. And one of the sources that they sent us was the song Blowing in the Wind, and the other was a letter from Birmingham jail. Blowing in the Wind has a line that says, "How many ears must one man have before he can hear people cry?" And that's sort of how I'd been feeling. I felt I'm hearing the cries of injustice in the world around me and people who are experiencing suffering in the world around me. And I feel that I need to have the ears to answer those cries and answer that call. I want to do my part to contribute to the work of social change in whatever capacity that is. And I think I almost subconsciously realized that this project was the perfect opportunity to do that, because I could research how art and how music sparked activism and influenced a movement. So what I realized was that I could be a student and an activist at the same time. I could use my education to look into past social change movements and then use that knowledge to inform my role in the world in the future. I started researching the songs of the civil rights movement. I read books on the most influential songs. I looked at scholarly debates surrounding the impact of those songs. I looked at what psychologists said, how they influenced presidential speeches, what historians said, what activists said, and I started to really examine the power of these songs. And I decided to focus in on two songs in particular, Blowin' in the Wind and We Shall Overcome. So as I went about doing this project, I feel that I grew a lot as a researcher and as a writer and as an interdisciplinary thinker and an innovative learner, because I started to see all these ways where art and activism intersected, and how they weren't mutually exclusive. And I also saw how my education, how doing this research and writing this paper was going to inform my activism in the future and my career. So this project helped me realize my passion for art and activism and made me realize that it is possible to use writing and art as a method for social change. If you just look at the lyrics from the song Lift Every Voice and Sing, one line is, "We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered." And James Weldon Johnson himself said that when he wrote those lines, he immediately realized their power to influence others, their power to make others feel empathy for his situation, and to gather others in a common cause of fighting for social justice. Hearing someone as acclaimed as James Weldon Johnson speak to the power of lyrics and music in influencing others and in catalyzing social change made me realize how powerful art and writing can be in promoting social justice. I wanted my paper to contribute to that conversation on the intersection of art and activism. And that's why I ultimately wrote it about how two protest songs, Blowing in the Wind and We Shall Overcome, built stamina in the civil rights movement. And that's also why those who influence my work, also believe in this power of art to catalyze social change, such as Dr. Martin Luther King, James Weldon Johnson, Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, President Barack Obama, Pete Seeger, civil rights activists who are unnamed, the Highlander Folk School, and more, because they prove how powerful art can be in influencing activism. I now want to continue to research the intersection of art and activism and to live and learn at that intersection. I want to produce art that will influence society and promote social change, be that writing song lyrics as part of my career or becoming a playwright or a novelist. I want the art that I produce to change the conversation in society, be that amplifying unheard voices or commentating on racial justice as past civil rights songs have done, or telling untold stories. I think that is the purpose of art, to promote social justice, to change the way people think and to give people empathy and to spark revolution. I want to keep singing protest songs, be they the modern ones of today, White Privilege by Macklemore, or Thug Life by Tupac, This Is America by Donald Glover, or those of the past, Blowing in the Wind, A Change Is Gonna Come, and more, because I think it's so clear the power song has and the power art has to change the world. Thank you.